Hello, it's Tess Inspired, and I just want to say thank you for joining me as I'm going to be here sharing a new video for you today. As you see before in the camera is my journal. And so today's topic is really going to be about mental well-being. And some of you who are new to my channel, this is kind of what I've been sharing a little bit in the past few videos is my overall wellness journey, as well as journaling through physical and mental well-being. So again, thank you again for stopping by, and my subscribers as well. And so let me kick off by saying I hope you had a very good day today. And if you didn't, that's okay, because there's lots to be learned, especially in the world of journaling, when it comes to how we can keep getting better and grow on our journey. So let me go ahead and just share with you what I've been doing for the last couple years. Actually, I should say, even when I was a very young girl, writing in my Hello Kitty diary, or just taking little notes and just putting things in about life. And I think some of you out there probably could identify that if you kept a journal when you were younger. And I really had to reminisce, because I was going through some boxes of old things we have in our attic, and found some of these journals back from in the early 80s, and pleasantly surprising that I shouldn't say I was surprised, but I didn't have a lot too much to say what was going on when you're maybe 10 years old or so. But it's kind of ironic and humorous to read those things, because it just brings back these memories of how sometimes childhood things were much simpler, and how we definitely concentrate and focus on the things that matter to us. And if it was, what was for dinner that day, or when we went down to the arcade, or went to the library, or you and your next door neighbor girlfriend played house with other, kids in the neighborhood, or, what have you. But it's just kind of funny that how vital it was and important as growing up, those little things like that. And as you get older, it's just like I said, kind of ricochets back about with life, and the roles you play as you get older. But again, so I just wanted to just share a little bit about that journey with you, and then also going forth, what it's been bringing to me and my life. And I'm hoping that for those of you who are new to journaling, that don't let it intimidate you, because I think a lot of times having to think in your mind, well, gosh, I had to sit down and have to write something, and what do I start, where do I begin, and or maybe a feeling that someone might read it and you might think it's so personal that you don't want anyone to know about what you're feeling. But rest assured, there's so much there's so many things going out in the world, and especially with social media. And I think that the one thing that has saved me constantly, as I said earlier, throughout the years, is being able to express myself, where in the past maybe I couldn't do it verbally to someone, or I didn't know how to even begin to express myself without feeling, especially if you were not confident, or if you felt scared, or if you felt that, maybe it didn't matter what I had to say to someone, or the way what I was thinking. But I think definitely over the years I learned about boundaries, and that for me was a big eye opener, to be able to see in past writings and journaling I've did, some of the things that I've learned about myself. And kind of like I said, it goes back to self-awareness. So, but let me go ahead and share with you kind of how I get to a point where I know when I'm ready to journal. And sometimes it's not just about moods and feelings, sometimes it's just about creativity, just releasing yourself, and those thoughts that you've been maybe bottling up, or you just feel that, now's the time to kind of say what I feel like I'm saying, and maybe not directly to the people you need to do that to, but it is leading up for you to bring you that self-confidence and awareness, and how you're going to go about saying it. Now, so this particular journal here I've had for a couple years. It's the brand by Cheek Sparrow. So, and they're a familiar brand here in the United States. And again, if you want to explore further with them, there's always a YouTube channel, and they do have one for Cheek Sparrow, and I'll list that in the links below. But I do like this vintage look, and it's a snap. So in this, it's an A5, because at this point, when I do journal, I like to write I actually write a lot, and I write kind of big sometimes, so I think a A5 suits me well. But as you see here, there's going to be pockets in this journal. What I usually like to do is before I even sit down to start writing my feelings about journaling is finding the best kind of journaling. And I know some of you who maybe caught my last video about devotionals, we talk more in depth about the spiritual side of sitting down and having that time with God. Now, this is going to take another level where now you are going to be having that time with yourself and being able to really write things out. And maybe, yes, you might be feeling you might want to let God know, and He knows. But I think for me, overall, it's just kind of releasing, as I said, releasing these things. And there are so many benefits to journaling, and I'll share that in a bit. But as you can see here, I like to have fun where I can sit and just, first of all, just kind of mold out how I want my journal to look. And usually anytime I journal, I kind of scope out what research out there, what is there in journals. I've loved the fact that with some of these, they call them traveler's notebooks, and they're size A5 that go into the, fit perfectly in the cheek sparrow cover, is the fact that there's multiple journals where I can sit and write on various things. So it's not one big large journal, but I can kind of separate them out and do that. And so with that being said, if that's something that maybe appeals to you, you could do that route. If something appeals to you more, maybe of just having one single journal, you don't want to worry about having multiple type of little inserts, you could do that as well. So this here, I guess a graph one, but it could be a line type journal, very simple. So it's up to you of how you want to proceed with just finding out that journal that you're looking for. That, I mean, we talk about you have to set up that environment to invite yourself in there to feel that you're going to gravitate. So in order to do that, I always found out when you have those journals, especially if I recall that childhood I had where I knew I wanted that Hello Kitty journal. Well, I was so excited when at the mall they have the Hello Kitty store. And I think it's at Sanrio store. And I thought, I'm going to pick out that particular one because it excited me. I knew I was going to be able to go right in it and feel that excitement and joy just using it. So that goes back to even us as we get older. We need to feel that we're going to go have a journal and seek it out, the one that's going to excite us and motivate us to want to use it. So as I said earlier, I usually, like I said, first look for that journal. And when I do like to decorate. And some people, maybe that's not something they want to do, and that's fine. But I feel like the outlet for me has been very therapeutic, is finding things that it's going to resonate with what I'm going to be feeling like. And so let me just share with you a little of that. When it comes to being able to express myself, I do want covers that are going to have something of a sort of motivation, creativity, and florals and things like that. So I did, like I said, find things like that that's going to really resonate with me. And I do love to recycle. I talk a lot about in my Instagram account, Tess Inspired, about recycling pictures from magazines. And real quickly, even when it comes to tabs or different type of just bookmarkers I made out of clothes tags, and I definitely just covered them over with construction paper of sorts. And just, like I said, things like that just make me feel I'm special. I found photographs I slapped on here. Now, not necessarily you're going to say, hey, how do you know what you're going to put down on the paper if you're not sure that's going to align with what you're writing about or feeling? With the journal, it's very simple. I look at it as if it gravitates to what your mood is and what you're feeling, you'll write on that page and just date it. It doesn't have to be in any type of chronological order in that sense. So don't feel that you have to do that exactly as I do. One of the things I've been learning over the years is there's no set of rules. And if it has to be, stringent, you're not going to do it. And there's some times where I don't want to write anything and have it blank. I could do that as well. And this is a dotted journal here. But there was times where I felt like, something came in the mail. I call it happy mail. And I do quite a bit of this as recycling, where Joyce Meyer's ministry sends me quite a few of announcements they get out. And what I usually like to do is, instead of tossing it after the event is over, I'm going to save it. And I just love the graphic images they provide because I know I gravitate towards that. So that helps me to kind of recall, like, okay, if I'm going to gravitate and use it for something later in my journaling, talking about, you know, my feelings, that still can put me in the mood. And if I don't, that's fine. I just want the picture in here because I admire it. I love looking at it. I could do that. So it was her envelope, and what I did was, since it didn't fit, I didn't want it across that way. I just wanted to cut it to fit the page. I did that, and then use the window to put in some other decor in there, and it's like an envelope pocket. And like I said, I like to use even all sorts of tags that come from items you purchase at the store. It could be from towels. It could be from blankets. I mean, you could go to town with that. So for me, as I look at that creative outlet, some people might call this junk journaling, and they feel like, okay, well, what you're doing is something in that scope. So that's fine. But still, I found something also, as well as advertisements from Michaels about their frames, art prints, and it had love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. If that doesn't say in itself maybe something that I could write about and align with, why not? So I went ahead and I pasted that there. So really, if you're on the lookout, you get things, tons of stuff in the mail, junk mail, and you never know. And especially old magazines you're going to toss. I mean, you're going to find some beautiful things. And let me show you real quickly. With one magazine that came in was the Real Simple. And if you look at that, I mean, this is their issue for April. But I thought, oh my God, I already could envision me just ripping this out and sticking it and gluing it. And sometimes what I'll just use is these what they call is like glue, not sticks, but glue tape runners. And these are great ones that are not messy at all. You just tape it down on the back side and then paste it, and then you're good to go. But look at that, how vibrant that looks for spring. So like I said, is really, that's the one part I've enjoyed about journaling, and is being able to decorate my pages. And I recall when I was feeling a little stressed, sitting one day and saying, you know what, I'm going to go up to my room and I'm going to do this on some blank pages. I'm just going to rip things out and put things down. So I kind of was feeling a sense of I needed to release some emotions and things, and pray. And I was even praying at the time doing it. And then after maybe not even 10 minutes into it, I was feeling so much better, because I had not have allowed those negative thoughts to continue. It's almost like I've asked God to take them away, and then I was allowed to then crowd in other things. And if it meant something of hope and inspiration, why not? So as you can see here, I've done that little bit of some things that I went ahead and I've done through some of the papers that you can find even at Michael's when it comes to their stationery and things. If you get anything of stickers of a sort, these are great. And especially these were given out at our Women's Day events at church, and I saved these. And again, so the sky's the limit. Here's a napkin here that I also love the floral design and the vibrant color. So I went ahead and pasted that. So yeah, it could be considered doing art journaling and things like that. But I felt like for me is when I did put these items down on paper, didn't mean I had to right away write on the pages. What I could do is reflect back later. But it did release that one sense, like I said earlier, is the release of just knowing that, wow, I released some of these, like I said, negative emotions that allowed me to see things more clearer. And then if some of you are interested, there is these what we call paper clips that come with the what they call with usually material on the ends of these. And there's quite a few people on Etsy that I usually purchase these from, and I'll put that as well. Yes, I could probably make these, but again, that goes to me having to set the time, and I'd rather support a small business to do that. But anyway, so with that in mind, that is one of my outlets, is also with wellness, and that is releasing that creativity side, or just some negative emotions, as I said earlier. So with that being said, I feel that when you are someone who's still feeling like, you know, I don't want to go that route, and you just want to get a journal and do that just plain and simple, by all means, still continue to do that. You can buy, like I said, journals any place on Amazon, online, bookstores. And again, when it goes back to talking about the benefits of journaling, again, if you want to look online yourself, you could find out is some of the things that it provides. I mean, there's so many benefits, but I wanted to share with you a little bit more. The stress level for me has been one of the greatest things too, with anxiety and improving my mood, especially looking at new things with better perspectives. The emotional things that you process, you could always go through these steps of writing it all out how you're feeling at first, and don't care about if someone's going to read this. Don't even sit there and think about them reading this, but just really releasing everything. But then going back and looking at the perspective of, okay, now what would you tell a friend that was going through that, and then writing that out. So that has been a tremendous exercise for me as well. And also, even when you're setting goals and you're not sure and you're questioning things about future things that are going to happen, I know we never can predict that. But again, if you're someone that wants to hit a goal, I think that's helping me on my weight loss journey is seeing things. If I take those steps every day towards it, it's going to like chip off what you call, instead of biting an elephant, but taking baby steps, as the old concept says. But also the self-discovery. Sometimes a light bulb moment will pop when you're thinking, I know that. How come I'm not doing that? And we all know there's things that we know we should do, but we don't do. So, but again, don't beat yourself up about that. But I think definitely by starting, of you just sitting down and being able to just write freely is very helpful for some of you that are not familiar with the process, or maybe feel still intimidated. I think about one of the exercises years ago when I heard a gal was watching on one of the podcasts say about, think about in terms of writing out how your day was today, and what did you like about your day, and what did you found challenging of your day. And then really, as you're writing and looking, going back and reflecting and looking, just keep in mind is nobody's going to critique it, no one's going to grade it, but that's just you, what you're feeling. And then asking yourself is, do you wish to see that same thing play out tomorrow and how you responded to your day? And if you don't want to see the same response, then you'd say to yourself, how can I change it? So kind of seeing those steps come forward where you're going to be able to write out these things, but also come up with answers. And if you're someone spiritual, maybe asking God to inviting him in to giving you some clarity as well. But I think one of the things, again, I talk about is creating an environment so you feel comfortable, having that quiet room, having the things you need when it comes to maybe even your little, tea or coffee. I always love to have that close by. And maybe setting the mood up more by having a lit candle, something that has some fragrance to bring, to be able to relax you. People talk often about their favorite pins. What I have here is I call my special pins I keep here. And some of them are fountain pins. Some of them are just pins that I feel like, okay, I'm going to not put this out for the family all to use on a Post-it note, but just knowing that these are my special pins, and whatever I want to write, especially with pins, you got to feel what's going to work for you. Gel pens, ballpoint pens, and that nature. Even my old handy dandy Bic will do it for me sometimes too. The Gelosity Bic will work as well. And again, it doesn't take a lot. It doesn't cost a lot of money, so I don't want you to go out and spend a lot. But the other option, if you're really looking into, is getting maybe a timer. So if you're somebody who wants to build up on your journaling and keep track, maybe start off with 5 minutes, or it could be less, and gradually add more minutes to that every other day or once a week, and see, because journaling, that's the thing, is it's not a set date. But if you're really looking to grow, or get some things accomplished, maybe you do have to schedule it in, so that way you don't let it become whenever it's like if you do have it or not. And I feel like for me, the evening is the best for me, because the day has settled and I feel like, okay, that's when my brain is more relaxed. I could sit and really ponder and reflect on my day. Again, some people might feel like the morning is best for them. So really, it's up to you. But I just feel like I just wanted to give you a couple tips, and not to intimidate anyone, but really to gear you to start thinking more in terms of how can you make things change. Because I know we talk about constantly doing the same thing over and over and not seeing any results. So, but I think just to let you know that one of the things too that I think with journaling, that you're going to see somewhat difference in sometimes the way you're thinking, because I think over the years I've always felt that there was so much limitation in what I thought or I couldn't do that I kind of broke a little bit of the mold of doing things out of my comfort zone. Otherwise, I wouldn't have probably done if I didn't stop and really ask myself some hard questions and keeping myself accountable as well. So anyway, today's video is just really about some tips of how I go about getting ready to journal and get a feel, just so that you understand that everybody kind of attempts journaling a little different. Again, out there in the YouTube community, if you type in how to journal, you're going to find a whole slew of people that will maybe share with you their versions. But then this is mine, and I'm just, like I said, I hope that it inspires you to give it a try. And again, with journaling prompts, that might be also, if you can't think of anything to write, journaling prompts could be found on Pinterest, online, wherever you do a search on that you could find. If you really can't think what you want to start by writing down, do that. So again, but thank you again for tuning in to today's video, and please hit like if this really helped you, or just, like I said, give you some new fresh ideas of how to go about your journey as you go forward in journaling for wellness. And I just want to leave you with a real quick quote that I feel like when a person is ready to begin that journaling journal, I think the one thing I think about is if it's a sweet journal, it's going to refresh your soul. So with that in mind, I hope you have a great day and a great week, and you take care. Bye-bye.